Welcome to the Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Hany Rambod. I'm here with my co-host, Austin, and we have two young guns in here with us today. We have someone who I worked with last year, David Butler, and someone a little bit new, but not that new, Matt Comisar. Guys, welcome to the Truth Podcast. I know that this is your first time, Matt, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we brought in the young guns, right? We call it the young guns. Matt, how old are you?
19.
19. Wow. It's like
to
be 19
days.
again.
To be 19 again.
It wasn't that long ago. And David is your elder now because he's 20. Yeah. So,
wow.
So David, as most of you know who follow the podcast, David did the Natural Ohio. I don't even know if it's called the Natural Ohio because they have a couple different. David Lieberman has a couple of NPC
Lieberman's
shows.
Natural Ohio.
David Lieberman's Natural Ohio. Of course, we got to throw it in there.
Yeah.
It's almost like Joe Weider's Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
Then now
the full title in there.
The full title in there. And you won the, God, how many classes did we end up doing?
We did 4.
Damn.
Yeah.
4. So you did classic and you did classic, you did bodybuilding, and you did teen, and I believe, did you do open? You did open? Or
I did teen and I did true novice.
Wellness? True novice, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wellness.
Yeah.
Well,
some bikini in there.
It was a great show, though. It was a stacked show. I was there. It was pretty insane, but it was a lot of fun to watch for your first one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And Matt, when was your last show?
So I actually did Lieberman's show in April, the Natural Ohio.
Okay, this past year. Right. Yeah. So just for those of you that don't know, Dave's got a couple of different NPC shows. And the one that you ended up doing was how long ago? How many months?
A
couple?
A little over a year ago.
Oh, so you did the one about a year ago.
Yeah, we did it in the same year. I did the April one, then he was October, I think.
Right. And now you're still a teenager until when?
Next February.
Until next February.
Oh, wow. So you got some time. All right.
There you go. So what show are you going to do next?
As of right now, I would like to go back and do the Lieberman show again next April and see like
same one?
Yes, what improvements I've made since then. So
you wouldn't be able to do teen anymore?
No, I'd do
Got
overall.
It. Okay.
But there's another teen. There's a natural show in, what is it, October, the one we were talking about?
Yes.
Right. But you're not going to do that one.
I would do it. I have some off-season goals that I will kind of want to get to before I assess like, okay, am I ready to do a show again? Got
it. So tell us a little bit about you, because I definitely like to get some of the pictures, get them superimposed in this.
Yeah.
So the whole point of this podcast is that we went down a road when we moved here. I moved Evogen from California here and my family, and met David at the gym. And I said, oh, this guy's got some decent arms. Now he gets his chest and his arm and the rest of his body, to catch up.
Yeah.
You do pretty well. And then at first we were just talking about training, and then eventually you had the itch to be able to compete.
Yeah.
Now you guys both are kind of in the same boat. Do you guys train together at all? Or
we do.
We
actually
last night. Yeah.
Last night we did back together.
Okay. So I got to talk to you about the shirts, because it's just
coordinated
guys, what's going on? I mean, I love the Evogen love, but did you guys tell each other what you're wearing?
No. This was literally coordinated last night. Not on purpose, but he asked me, he said, what shirt are you going to wear to the podcast? And I told him I'd just go black and white. Keep it simple. And he showed up with a black and white Evogen shirt.
I didn't know what to wear, so I was like,
I'm going to make some white and black.
Yeah.
So that way we can create.
Or the reflections one, the one that's inverse, so you guys could sit next to each other. It'd be pretty much a mirror image.
Yeah.
Do you guys, but how often do you guys train?
I would say maybe once or twice a month. Something like that. Yeah. And then it's funny when we do YouTube videos together too, and we end up wearing the same thing almost every single time.
Yeah.
During the YouTube videos?
Yeah.
Like unintentionally.
But it's not unintentional.
No. Unintentional.
You guys somewhat in the same weight category? Like where are you guys at weight wise right now?
I'm about 195. Yeah.
195 too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And okay. Because you're about 5'10".
Yeah.
Okay. So Matt, how tall are you?
5'10".
Hold on. This gets even free.
There's
the more
similarities because we both did Lieberman's show, and then we both same hair kind of. We come down and he's doing the same show. We both are sponsored by Evogen.
Hold on, there's one more thing.
What's the other thing?
Don't tell me it's a girl.
No.
Shoot, no, that'd be horrible. That'd be horrible.
Maybe it could have been twins.
Twins.
Right. You guys got to find the twins.
What's something that you just started yesterday, Matt?
Oh, we both work at AR now.
Wow.
Oh, you work at AR now?
I just got a job there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What are you doing there?
What would you say my position is? 'Cause he's my boss.
You're the boss.
Yeah, I'm the manager there.
shoot.
Yeah, he's the front desk sales associate.
Clean toilets and
You know,
things like that.
Who's
And
stronger?
The works. Who's stronger? You know what? we have different parts. So his back is stronger, my chest is stronger, kind of evens out.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're like very
But
close.
you guys haven't competed against each other.
No.
No,
Not yet.
not yet.
Dun, 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 dun. Interesting.
Stay tuned.
The natural Bopsy twins.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We talked about it. We talked about it last night. We've been talking about possibly doing a show in October, but you have a lot of personal stuff going on right now, and you're actually doing really well. I saw the last update that you sent over to me, and you're growing. So there's going to be some pictures that are superimposed of you in your living room. And by the way, I love the tribute to Evogen up on your cabinet.
Do you have a flag up there?
No. I have an entire collection from just this past year of all my empty Isoject tubs on top of my cabinets.
Lining the top there.
Awesome.
So where the cabinets are, he's got this graveyard of just Evogen Isoject bottles that are just all the way across.
You got to add up how many grams of protein that is in the last year from just...
too many to count. And there's 3 dudes in this apartment, so they're just running through protein.
Is it all of you guys, or is that just your stuff?
Yeah, and then they end up using my stack, so I'll just keep it on the counter, and then I
just disappears.
Yeah, it disappears. Half my tub is gone.
Yeah. Evaporates. It's like in college. I used to have a college roommate that used to like come over there and pour water in the milk. And then just like, because when you drink my milk, and then he would turn around and it's like, why is my milk transparent?
I thought people did that with.
You like put a little Sharpie marker in there in
I thought
college.
people did that with liquor, not with.
Oh
milk.
man, we would do it with everything. Everything. Things would be
the bodybuilding version.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's going on with my milk, man? And just like,
because you got a little bro house going on then, essentially.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't take.
They used to work it.
Seriously.
They used to work it.
They used to. They used to. Yeah, they're doing marketing things now, but they still work out on a regular basis. So.
Right, and that's Bryson.
Bryson and AK.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. AK as in 47.
That's a good nickname. That's a solid nickname.
That's how you remember his name.
I know.
Yeah.
That's funny. But so are you planning on staying there, or what's up? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, so they're actually going to be moving to downtown Dallas.
Okay.
And I'm going to be moving to Las Colinas, so I'm going to get my own place.
Nice.
Could be a little bit cleaner.
Moving up in the world.
Little cleaner. So you're like the very anal type, right? Like you're
I'm OCD.
OCD about like just making sure everything is super clean.
Needs to be clean.
Right.
Yeah, my car is like pristine, but then I walk in the apartment. And AK brought a cat home, and I was like, "What are we doing?"
A cat?
Yeah,
Litter box and stuff.
Moshi.
I can't do that. That's why I never had roommates. I could never do
It's
the
difficult.
whole just messy dealing with somebody else's dishes and all that stuff. I can't do it.
Yeah. Moving on.
Nice.
That's it. So now you're going to go ahead and you're going to live alone, or
live alone.
I thought you guys were moving in together.
No.
Depends on if you're clean or not. That's the big tell.
So here's the funny thing. We always joke around, right? When we were doing prep last year, we talked about how you're like we call you like Tom Holland, the Spider-Man kind of, Marvel universe knockoff.
The one from
the
Wish.
Jack Tom Holland.
There you go. Jack.
Buff Tom Holland.
Yeah. Hashtag. We gotta use that. Matt, who do people think that you look like?
I've heard like a bunch of different actors. I've heard Brad Pitt, DiCaprio, Zac Efron, like just
all good comparisons.
Yeah, laundry list of people.
He's like only all the models.
Yeah, I get like Jack Black.
I look like an older version of Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
Al Pacino. I think he's 82. Which, by the way, shout out to Al Pacino. He just had a baby at 82 years old.
Wow,
he's 82 years old.
82.
His girl is 29. And his girl, we can talk a little bit about this, guys. What do you think?
82.
He's 82. His girl's 29. And I believe she either had the baby or she's about to have a baby this month. And Robert De Niro, same thing. He's 78, 79, I believe. And I think he just had a baby. So what do you guys think of that? Like,
that's scary.
I think they're in competition because they've done so many movies together, and they're like, "Wow, you got a hot girl that's young." Well, so do I.
Yeah.
Well, I got a baby. Well,
do they have any other babies?
They have other kids from other women. But this is
that to me is irresponsible. Though.
To who?
Personally.
To
I think it's because I think that like you're setting up the kid to pretty much be in a single mother household.
Yeah.
You're not going to be around for like
he's going to be 100 when he's 18, right?
If you make it to 100, but most people don't make it to 100.
Right.
So it's like you're pretty much guaranteeing that the kid's going to be like fatherless at like 8.
I mean, you make enough money to like provide for the kid for like the rest of their life.
Yeah, but they're not having a father.
Most kids don't need the money.
Yeah, no, but it's like not having that. that father figure
Exactly.
present is going to be like the difficult
Yeah,
part.
but you got to remember, in history, there's been a lot of times where these older guys that had money. Well,
Oh, yeah,
sometimes when they didn't
kings.
have money either. They would have a lot of
But
things.
like, yeah, kings, people of status, power, other things would still do that and stuff. But
Well,
it
I
doesn't mean
think
that
I
it's
think
like-
Al Pacino's got the king money.
I guess the kid can just grow up watching the movies. Just like, look, Dad, look what I got. It's just showing the TV
yes,
screen.
and this, yeah, and you just turned 13 and you're going to watch Heat. You know,
Yeah,
which you guys
exactly.
probably don't even know. the
I've
movie.
never even watched that. No.
Oh,
a lot of
great
good
movie.
movies. A lot of really
such
good movies.
a good movie. Such a good movie.
I don't know. That's kind of that's a little bit weird to me. I don't know. But I didn't know that Al Pacino was having the same, because I saw that De Niro was having a kid at that old, but like,
Yeah, no,
just
82, and I think it's either the baby just got born or it was it's going to be. She's about to have the baby this month, I believe.
yeah, because I was gonna
And
say
she's
like
29.
that's young.
She's 29, and then she's also, from what I understand, I can't remember her name, but from what I understand, she used to be with another billionaire.
No,
And then so it was like, okay, I went to this billionaire. Now I got to get the the Academy Award winning actor.
yeah.
I gotta like check the boxes.
It's a punch card. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I mean, you know what? Do whatever you want, but it's just, to me, that's kind of like, yeah, you're setting up the kid to not have a dad. So it's a little tough.
Yeah, or I don't know.
Guys, get this figured out before you're 80.
And speaking of that too, talking about Leonardo DiCaprio, another thing in the talking about little current affairs, Leonardo DiCaprio hanging out with his girl's ex-boyfriend, Tom Brady. So Tom Brady.
Wait, he's with that woman?
So no, his girl that he just broke up with, Giselle.
Yeah.
I think it's her name, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Her ex-boyfriend is Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh.
They were together for 5 years before, and now they're hanging out in Sardinia on vacation together with like 10 other friends.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is very
That's really
weird.
weird. But out there, everything's all crossed. I like how this is turning into TMZ.
Yeah,
It's like, what's
well,
the
I got the young guns
the
here.
younger
We're gonna do a little
generation.
TMZ update with the. I mean, these guys haven't even seen Heat. I don't know. Have you seen Heat?
Yeah.
Okay.
I grew up on a lot of
Whoa.
older stuff. So I'm younger, but I grew up with a lot of very, very old pop culture, music, movies, all that kind of stuff. I was very-
Heat. You guys got to watch Heat. Really good movie. They're both actually in it. Robert De Niro, and one's a cop and the other's the Rock.
There's your homework.
Okay. Watch
And
Heat.
Yeah. There's a lot of really good actors in that. It's one of the best bank robbery scenes.
I've heard a few people have said you were kind of like a young Tom Cruise.
Young
I've
Tom
heard that
Cruise.
before,
No, I don't. I would say young. Like Brad Pitt. I would definitely say closer to Brad Pitt than Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise has got a little bit, especially when his younger days.
You always get Joe Rogan.
Yes, I don't know why.
Bald guy with the podcast.
I don't know, bald guy with a
It's like-
podcast, but he doesn't have a goatee. He doesn't have a goatee.
We'll get you a
so-
Spotify deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, I'll take it. I'm already in Texas. Yeah.
So have you guys been in talks for another show?
Not yet.
I didn't know about that.
We're going to be working on his off season is actually going really, really well. So we're going to basically work on that. So the whole point of what's happening right now is that he's moved out of the teens, right? And as of right now, I want to talk a little bit about natural bodybuilding because that's kind of how this whole thing started. And for those that you didn't know or haven't gone back and watched any of the other episodes from last year, what we did was we met at the gym and then we started working out together a little bit, doing some sessions. And I think we did legs was our first workout together.
Yeah, it was off camera.
Yeah.
This was our very first one.
Because his training was the thing that was pretty rough, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say it. It was
Yes.
meaning like
Yeah. His
great
technique-
genetics, all that stuff. But yeah, like I remember watching the first few
Those
workouts.
leg days.
Yeah, and he went through some you weren't really activating your chest. You weren't really actually like training properly. That was
Yeah.
one of the biggest things that
His biomechanics were off.
Yeah.
So his biomechanics were off and his mind-muscle connection didn't, like you said, he had really good genetics. You still obviously do. It's not like your genetics go away in your arms. But when you have really good arms, you tend to not always have a really good back because you pull with your arms when you're doing all of your back movements. And what happens is you end up focusing so much on just trying to move the weight instead of feel the weight in the muscle group that you're trying to focus on.
Yep.
You end up creating just bigger arms. You're doing like a really heavy curl.
Like 2 arm days a week now, right? Yeah.
And so that being said, when we went back and we started working on that, it made a huge difference.
Yeah.
And your body started to really come together. Your legs started to get better outer sweep. Your back got thicker. Your back double bicep looks much, much better than it ever has. Your chest is starting to grow. Your shoulders you had an imbalance, and now you're balanced. You're definitely, your delts are balanced out much better than they've ever been, and your chest is starting to grow to catch up with your arms. So that's the other thing about it. But I haven't seen Matt compete. So when you competed, how did you do?
So I did 6 different categories. For my first one, I did the teen, true novice, and overall for men's physique and classic. And then for men's physique, I got 2nd in teen, and then 4th in true novice and overall. And then for classic, I got 1st in teen and true novice, and then 3rd overall. And then I got a most promising award, like in addition to that.
Bring your mic a little
There
closer.
you go.
And
There
then
you go. Yeah.
So I got like an additional award.
Okay. So when you were doing all of those, did you have someone coaching you, or were you kind of working on by yourself?
I had a coach at the time. Yeah, like a family friend who agreed to help out.
Okay.
It's my first time. And,
So what do you feel like you needed to improve on after you looked at your pictures?
Definitely just, I had pretty decent legs, like, and a good back I needed to bring up, and I still do, like chest, shoulders, arms. You can always get better calves too. So
That's it. So when you guys work out together, is it very competitive? Because I mean, mostly guys that train together, like when you guys saw Hany and C-Bum, they're both pushing pretty good amount of weight, because I don't think Hany was ready for C-Bum to be as strong as he is. So pushing the weight. Do you guys, when you guys push each other, do you feel like you have to either do more reps than the other person does, or do you feel like it's just kind of like you're just in your own space?
Oh, 100%. I don't think either of us ever go below the weight the other person did.
No, it's always like this game of like someone will suggest doing something really hard, and then the other person will have like too much pride to be like, no, let's not.
Yeah.
And we're just like, okay. And then we just like, it just keeps like compounding.
Well,
We
you guys
don't
are like
one up each other though.
Well, you're about a year apart.
Yeah.
Right? So you're older by a year.
Yeah.
And you're the same height, you're the same weight.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about it is, it's not like, if somebody's a lot heavier, you can always be like, he's stronger because he's 30 pounds heavier, or, he's a lot taller, bigger frame. You can always just kind of, but you can't really come up with an excuse for any of that. Or he's always older than me. He's got more muscle maturity than me. You're like, well, no, he's only like a year older than you.
I feel like we need to open that up to like the comments and see if anybody has some ideas for like challenges we can do, because you guys are so close with so many metrics of like putting you guys through a few things, whether it's eating, training, whatever.
You know what I think would really help? And I just thought of this. This is nothing that I, really put a lot of attention into until this point, because I just thought about it. The lifts are great, because the lifts, that competition will help push each other. But what you should do is we should start putting each other's updates.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, I kind of see like tracking the progress and who's making more progress.
That's right.
In certain
Who's
areas.
making more progress in certain areas?
Yeah.
What strengths and weaknesses are, and then and maybe what we'll do is we'll do check-ins here, and then we'll go ahead and talk about the check-ins here. So what we'll do is we'll set up a time, like let's say however many weeks, for the next set of pictures, and we're going to say, and then maybe we'll have the audience vote of who made the most.
Just putting the pressure on.
No, and even it would be dope. Potentially, we could do the same show.
Yeah.
Who knows?
The April one.
There you go. So let me ask you guys this. I'm assuming both of you, I know you've been at lifetime drug free.
Yeah.
Are you lifetime drug free? Okay. So is it something where you just decided, hey, look, I want to stay drug free because of A, B, and C? I mean, what are the reasons behind you staying clean? Because so many people nowadays with the trend twins and all these people that I keep hearing about that kind of, I don't want to say advocate, but it draws people to the dark side.
Not to cut Matt off, but he gets off a lot easier with the natty question than I did.
You're saying I look nattier than you? Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
He said, I got interrogated.
Well, because when you committed for me to work with you, right, it was a big difference, right? So I'm taking Matt for his word, and I'll be honest. I mean, he does look natural, and no offense, but it's just he does. Where with you, I'm like, there's a little bit of question there, and I'm like, okay, let's just make sure we define natural, because nowadays people are like
natural. Some people will be like, oh, I'm natural. I'm just on test right now. And I'm like,
or I'm just taking, it's not even the test. It's like, oh, I'm natural, but I'm taking peptides. Yeah. Or I'm natural, I'm taking SARMs. Or I'm natural and I'm, taking just natural GH. Whatever it is that they've justified, because some guy in the gym that's selling them whatever it is that they're buying has justified to them that it's quote unquote natural.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to really, really clarify that, because I had my reputation riding on it.
100%.
So I'm like, okay, you're going to go do a drug tested show. If you come back and you piss dirty, I'm going to be turning around. I'm going to be one pissed mofo. Right. Like, I'm just going to say motherfucker, because who cares?
He asked me for my pee backstage.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I said, no, I'm joking. I'm joking, everybody. I'm joking. That's
really quick.
That did not happen. I remember the one thing that made me be like, dang, okay, this is really impressive. It was your glutes on stage. That was the thing that absolutely nobody else on the entire stage, and that's what Hany has, that's what Derek has. That's like, it's always the most impressive thing.
Right.
Is the glute just cuts were insane. Like, just, totally hetero to hetero. Your glutes were like cheese graters. And so when seeing that on a natural stage, I was like, that is the big difference.
Yeah, David Lieberman called me about it. He's like,
oh yeah?
Yeah, because many, many, many years ago, there was a competitor that I worked with out here, and same situation happened, and he did shows. This is about 10 or 15 years ago. And he went over and he ended up winning the overall and everything. But the minute he went to go check in, they're like, he doesn't look natural. And I said, he's natural, but he wasn't lifetime drug free. He turned around and I think he was like maybe between 3 and 4 years he was clean. And he ended up doing the drug test. He passed the drug test. But there was a question, because how good he was, that same thing. I got a phone call and they're like, dude, are you sure he's going to pass the drug test? I said, yeah, he has been clean for this many years. He has taken stuff in the past, but again, this is not a lifetime drug-free show. Right. It's a drug-free pee in the cup. And honestly, like, people would always say, oh, I'm sure there's ways Hany could turn around and create some kind of system or some kind of protocol to go around. For me, that would be like me keeping you in teens for the next 3 or 4 years. Right? Giving you a fake ID. It's really bullshit, especially because I come from a natural bodybuilding background. I personally only competed in drug-free shows, even though I know that there's a lot of people that I competed against that were not drug-free. Because John Lindsay with the Ironman Naturally, when I was competing in that show, it wasn't like what David Lieberman does in terms of the drug testing and all that. And so I know I was drug-free. I was lifetime drug-free. You can see the videos of me somewhere on YouTube, and you'll see I'm much, much softer than both of you guys, because I was very, very overtrained and underate, because I coached myself, and I felt like I was super, super conservative with the amount of food I took in, and I would just...
You wanted your conditioning to be on point.
Yeah, but it just made my conditioning worse, because my legs had so much inflammation. I think my second show, my upper body was really, really tight, but as I kind of started to overtrain, over cardio, I mean, I was doing 2 hours of cardio a day. I would do too many years between shows, not months, but years between shows, because I would do a show every other year. And then that was a big mistake I made. So a lot of the things the mistakes I made were because I just didn't have the consistency. The best I ever looked was when I did back-to-back years when I competed, and in 98, 99, and I looked my best. But I still didn't look like you guys did, because I just overtrained, underate. I really underate. I'd probably do 1,200, 1,400 calories, and I'll be honest, maybe even less than 1,000. Wow. And it was just my body. I would shut my own metabolism down and overcook the cardio. And obviously there's no anabolics or anything like that to help with any of that stuff, where people don't realize what anabolics do is they create an ability to fix fuck ups, and your body can less likely to overtrain your body. I mean, now if you really go bad, then obviously your body's going to look like shit. But if you undereat, if by a little bit, there's a fudge factor that it creates where you can be a little bit not perfect with your program.
You'll still retain some muscle.
And you'll retain muscle, exactly. When you are natural, that's ain't going right up the window. You got to have it really, really dialed in.
I actually have 2 questions on that topic. One, I don't know how much detail you want to go into on these, but like, how long would somebody have to come off before a show like that to actually still be clean in a test?
Well, it's really hard to say, because depending on what kind of tests they're doing, half-lives of certain compounds are very, very long, right? Like let's say an nandrolone. Nandrolone has a very, very long half-life. But you also have things that you don't consider long half-life that could also still stay in your system, even though they're water-based, like Winstrol, right? Because it can,
but like
the way it breaks
ballpark,
down.
we talking months? We talking?
It's hard to say. That's why I don't have to worry about it, because I never had to go around it.
Yeah.
Because I just tell people, stay your lane, stay at least clean for a year or two.
Yeah.
And then make sure that you are, if you're going to take shit. But don't try to, be like, oh, I took stuff 3 or 4 months ago. Let me try to get it quickly out of my system.
Yeah.
All that is just such bullshit.
Well, my second question on that is like, if somebody has taken stuff, like you mentioned the guy way in the past, do you, though you've come off of stuff for years, do you think you're still going to be reaping benefits though
Absolutely.
they were so far in the past?
100%. 100%. Someone who is lifetime drug-free is not going to have the edge of somebody who's taking drugs for years and stopped.
Because I think personally, like
you?
when who's got a phone going off? Yeah, he's got it in the bag over there.
You better go turn off your phone, man. Your alarm. I think, is that your food alarm?
It's time to eat another meal.
Is that, or he's got to go and tan his face?
Time to eat another meal. Because I do feel like I saw a few folks in that show that were questionable to me.
Okay.
In David's show, I saw a few people that I was like, you may not be like. To me, when I walked them, I was like, they're a little big. It was mainly the size thing and the fullness. To me, that's kind of whenever, like, because you did drop weight, you maintained some good weight and everything like that. But I've, to me, dropped a reasonable amount of weight to get ready for the show, and everything kind of mathematically made sense. A few of these people that I saw, and I was like, you're a little full. Like, you're a little bit big to be.
But you got to remember, the other thing that you got to remember is muscle maturity. So that does make a difference. So if you're talking about a 35, 40-year-old man versus an 18-year-old boy, it's a big difference.
Yeah, but these guys weren't that old.
26, I think, like 25, 26.
Yeah.
Now who knows? Maybe they weren't lifetime drug free. Maybe they were taking gear up to a year.
That's
ago,
what I thought. I thought that so some of the people to me looked like they had taken it for a little while, still had some of the mass, but didn't necessarily. You could kind of tell that maybe it was a little softer or things like that. But anyway, like again, like you said, it's not a lifetime natural show, and so people, as long as they pass that test. But it's just kind of an interesting topic, because it's just like, it's hard to know 100%.
And you can't. Here's the other thing: you can't drug test for a lifetime amount of drugs. Like, let's say somebody did that. The only way to do that is, in most of these associations that are doing the kind of testing that you would need, it's polygraph. And
polygraphs can be passed pretty easily too, right?
I don't know how good they. Like I said, when I went and we had to do polygraphs with certain associations and certain shows where they would use that because the urinalysis was too expensive, and they're like, hey, we're going to do this. I found out that like nobody failed. And I'm like, if nobody failed, then I think that just the pure fact that they had to do it was a deterrent enough, or somebody had to go out of their way to do it. And I think that's all they were using. But then I turned around and people were like, hey, what were you on? And I'm like, nothing. It's the natural Ironman natural. And they're like, you were taking something? And they're like, well, yeah, man, you took the drug test. Like, you did the polygraph or whatever it was about a month before, 3 weeks before. So you didn't take anything since then? I go, no, because it's the natural Ironman. But that's where I got kind of like jaded, because I found out I was the only one that was actually natural.
Can we please hook them both up to polygraphs? Imagine if we had a series of questions and we could run them through a polygraph
we could
test.
definitely look, because I know
that would be awesome.
I know that the FBI has a field office here in Dallas. We can definitely make a phone call.
Because there's a bunch of questions I want to ask, and you guys are always messing with me, so I feel like I could switch it back and like.
Yeah, are you guys down?
A whole entire list to submit to
polygraph testing.
But like, why? So why did you two stay natural? What's the? I've told the story many times. I got sucked into taking stuff at a very young age, like 17, 18. But like, I was just like susceptible to some idiot in the gym and was like, oh yeah, let me do this, and tried to take some stuff that was shaped like dog bones from the back of a Fitness Connection parking lot car. So
I don't think he's kidding. I think
they were shaped, I was listening to the
They were shaped like dog bones and dog treats and things like that, because they were supposed to look like dog medication. But like
from Mexico.
Probably.
It was for gatos and perros.
The dude popped up on my Facebook recommended friends the other day, and I was like, oh, that's a...
Oh, you're kidding, the guy that sold them to you?
Yeah, from way back in the day. Yeah, so like...
have you run into him?
No. Dude, I'm pretty sure he went to jail at one point.
Oh.
He has Facebook in jail?
I guess it could be just sticking around. I didn't delete it or whatever, but I thought you went for a period of time. Would make sense. But like, why? What was the determining factor for you two? Because you both live like bodybuilders. You guys are pretty strict, regimented food, all that kind of stuff. Like for both of you, what was the reason? Is there a main reason to stay natural?
My dad just put like the fear of God in me when it came to that stuff.
That works.
Yeah.
That works.
And he was, his like first story was he used to work out at Gold's Gym with, it was a guy who was training for the Mr. California. And, he told me that
What year was this?
Must have been in the 90s.
Okay.
In the 90s. And he told me that he was at the gym one day, he would train with him on a regular basis, and the guy was taken to jail. And I was like, oh wow, because apparently something came out. And then on top of that, he was just telling me how there's a lot of people that don't necessarily open up about it, but that are taking things on a regular basis that have a lot of issues later on. And he was kind of telling me there's a lot of people that just it's really bad for you. And so I was just like, okay, so definitely like not interested in taking anything at the moment. And plus I also was like, no, I still have so much room for growth that it wouldn't even make sense to do it at my age yet. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
So would you ever consider it?
Potentially.
The dark side has been speaking to him.
You truth podcast. You have to tell the truth on everything.
Right.
It's just like this table here is just like a polygraph machine. If you don't find it, it'll just shock you.
Matt, what about you? Why are you natural?
Yeah, definitely like family, just like parents, and just being like, don't touch that stuff. Like that'd be stupid. Like just told me not to do it, and then like, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. So I'm like, what am I going to put this like foreign substance in my body? I don't know how it's going to affect me, anything like that. So I just had kind of my environment basically kind of informed my decision not to do anything. Now, I mean, like in the future, maybe, who knows? But as of right now, like I'm young. I've got time. I'm not even 20 yet. So
I think it's very smart, guys. I think it's really, really smart. Even when I was competing naturally, I told myself, I said, I'm going to compete naturally. And then if I'm still competing in my mid 20s, 24, 25 years old, I'm going to go ahead and make a decision depending on what my genetics tell me. If I'm good enough and I do well naturally and my body's looking very, very impressive naturally, then I'll make a decision at that point. But I'm going to wait till my mid 20s. And I kept telling myself, maybe I'll grow another inch, and I don't want to stunt my growth because that was always the thing. And that never happened.
That
never happened.
It can still happen, honey.
I'm still waiting, guys. I'm still waiting.
It's coming right around the corner.
Yes.
You got it.
Yes.
So, like, well, this leads me to another question because we've discussed this before on the podcast when it comes to anabolics. Did either of you have like a glaring like physical insecurity growing up? I know it's a big question to ask, but I feel like from photos I've seen, you were always fairly lean and somewhat muscular. Like I was a fat kid. And then I was a super skinny kid, and I always suffered with severe body dysmorphia and feeling to whatever. So I was just kind of like, when somebody gave me the option to like take something, I jumped right on it. But I've noticed that some people who maybe didn't have as serious of a roller coaster, they're not necessarily as susceptible to like jumping on that train. It's like, oh, I'm continuing to make progress through my teens. Were either of you guys like a fat kid or a skinny kid?
Well, I remember I was telling you a story when we were in Ohio about the pool party.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, tell about this. Tell the story.
No, so that's my well, first, like my family's always been really health oriented. So yeah, I've never been out of shape. Always like from I think like it was like sixth grade, I was doing like these 6-minute abs, all that different type of stuff, right?
Tell the pool party story.
And so it was 7th grade, and we were I was at a pool party, and I was so self-conscious of my look, and I remember I did like right before, like for the whole week leading up to this pool party, doing the 6-minute abs, all that stuff, and then right before 6-minute abs. And so the entire time, it must have been 3 hours, I'm shirtless, flexing my abs the entire time. And then I guess there was some girl that I liked, and then like I went into some other room, and then somebody was like, yo, like she said you have really good abs, and I was like, yes,
it worked. So honestly, he was doing FSC 7 flex sets well before he had ever seen you.
Absolutely.
Just at the pool, abs flex for 3 hours straight. Wow.
Yeah,
it was multidimensional. It was going out multi-universe.
So I feel like that gives me like, okay, what about you? Were you a fat kid, skinny kid, anything like that, or kind of?
So here's the thing.
Okay.
I was overweight growing up.
Oh, okay.
But like all my friends used to call me like Fat Matt. Swear. Yeah.
I had a Fatty Matty.
I was Fat Matt. Like,
yeah, my buddy, I was in college. We call him Fatty Matty.
And I was like, oh, this sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then my parents were like, all right, we'll get you a personal trainer. Like I wanted to like get fit for sports.
And this is how old?
I was like 12, 13 maybe.
Okay.
And then, so I went from fat to being like really, really skinny by freshman year of high school. I was like 148. Like,
how much weight did you lose?
I think at the beginning of 8th grade, I had to have been like 180 something.
Wow.
And I went to like 148, like skinny. And I was like, oh yeah, finally I'm in shape for sports. And then like I was too small for like to like start varsity or anything. So I was like, well, this sucks. Like, and then one night I remember I was like at home and I just like, I don't know what it was, but I looked up, there's a YouTube video. It's Arnold's Blueprint of Bodybuilding. I was like, I'm going to get so big. Like I'm going to start working out. And like, I start like taking notes on like training from him and like his diet and everything. And I just like have been like at it ever since that.
That's awesome.
Like in between sports seasons and stuff. And then like,
what sports did you play?
So I did, I wrestled, I played lacrosse and football.
Wrestled, lacrosse, and football. Yeah, lacrosse is pretty big out here.
Yep.
Yeah.
You were big into table tennis, right?
No.
Badminton.
Okay. Yeah, badminton.
Badminton championship.
Field hockey.
That's when it gets serious.
You know what's a savage sport? This is just a side note. Water polo. Have you heard about that?
Water polo?
Water polo, people like they'll sharpen their nails into points. They'll do a bunch of stuff. They like slash each other under the water. They'll
No,
be
I didn't know
kicking,
about that.
punching
I know
each
about
other.
the kicking and stuff.
Water
Yeah.
polo is gnarly. I don't know. This just came out of nowhere. That's why I shouldn't be on a podcast. But like wild sport. But I've heard lacrosse is can be pretty rough.
Yeah, lacrosse is
Yeah.
brutal,
Oh, it was
man.
so much fun. Like
Yeah.
I played defense, so like I could just hit kids with like a giant stick.
Like,
Well, the
You should
defensive
probably
sticks,
talk to somebody about that, man.
the defensive sticks are like bigger, so you're just like, oh, fun.
Just
Like,
smacking
whack
people?
Yeah, but yeah, like so just in between sports seasons, I would like kind of bodybuild like on the side, like track my food and everything, and then like slowly it became less about like doing this for sports and more like, oh, I love the lifting. Like I actually enjoy doing this. So then like I played football senior year, and then after that, I got ready for my first show.
so let me ask you this. When you lost that weight, over 30 pounds, how much of it had to do with cleaning up your diet? Because usually it has a lot to do with it because it's a matter of what the calories you're taking in versus what the calories you're taking out. But was it mostly because you were just inactive, or did you end up losing the weight because you were able to burn more calories, but also you were on an eating program?
So it was much more of like cutting for wrestling was completely different from like when I grew up versus like a bodybuilding cut where it's like, it was way harsher of a deficit.
But was it for wrestling you dropped the weight, or did you lose the weight because you wanted to just lean out because you felt like you were just overweight?
It was a bit of both, like through sport. Like wrestling was kind of like, okay, like this is kind of a way that I can lose this weight to like get in better shape for sports. So like I was eating like my diet was terrible. It would be like 2 eggs in the morning, and then like would maybe have lunch, like
Deprivation diet.
would barely drink any water, and then like maybe have dinner and be chicken and broccoli.
On
And then,
purpose you wouldn't drink water, or you just didn't pay attention?
well, like we wouldn't get water breaks. It's like keep my weight down because I had to lose so much weight. And then like on the weekends I would go on like 3-mile runs.
Did you feel like that screwed up your relationship with food because of that at that age? Because it's such a pivotal age.
I don't know if it completely screwed it up. I think now like maybe like doing wrestling kind of informs like how I like my relationship with food now, but I don't think it like screwed it up, but it definitely was not healthy or sustainable.
But right now, do you have a pretty good relationship with food, or do you feel like you have to really kind of hold back from eating shit because of the fact that you just have tendencies to want to eat?
Oh, I love food. Like if I didn't bodybuild, I'd probably still be overweight.
You'd be fatty matty?
I'd definitely be fat Matt still.
Yeah.
But I try to be like pretty good about it. Like throughout the week, I'll be like, okay, let me stay on this routine. And then like on the weekend, I'll be like, oh sure, like I'll have like a cheat meal. But I'd say it's definitely better. It's a lot healthier.
You go eat the Whataburger like this guy?
I've never been to Whataburger.
Wow.
Interesting.
We were supposed to go together after his show, and he just never went with me.
Jeez.
He doesn't want to give you the Whataburger secret. The secret.
Whataburger experience.
Five Guys.
That's
I
it.
used to get like cookies or something.
What's your go-to cheat?
Well, it's for a while it was In-N-Out. I'd get 2 double doubles, fries, and a shake. But I've been craving like cookies recently. So I've been going to Crumble.
Crumble cookies,
Crumble
yeah.
cookies.
Yeah.
Crumble cookies.
Get a box to myself and just
So you're right now, what's your diet look like?
just like basic stuff. Like right now it's like eggs and oats. Like
Are you tracking your
protein.
macros?
Yeah.
So what are your grams of carbs, protein, fats? I want to just share this for anybody who's listening to this, that would take something away from the fact that maybe they're close to you in age or height and weight, and somewhere where if they're bodybuilding naturally or not, and they want to try to find out what you're doing, are you at like 200-300 grams of protein? Where are you at?
See, I kind of like, I start at the base of it with my protein, where it's kind of like I eat over my body weight, just because depending on how much like my body absorbs at a specific time, like I can make sure if I'm eating over that, then I'm definitely getting my 190 something grams of protein that I need. So that's the basis of it. And then I think like, okay, I need fats. Fats are important, a lot more important than people realize, I think.
And a little closer to the mic, just so people can hear you.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're good.
So fats are pretty important. So start with protein, then I eat about like 70 grams of fat. And then from there, kind of see like, okay, how many calories do I have left? And then from there, that's all carbs for me.
Got it. So you basically prioritize your protein, then secondarily you do your fats, and then you fill in the rest of your calories. Are you tracking your calories total at all?
Yeah. So I'm carb cycling right now, just because I tend to put fat on pretty fast. So like I have high days and low days, but so depending on the day, like the difference in my calories is in my carbohydrates. So I'll do higher carb days on like the days that need the most emphasis.
So you keep your proteins kind of stagnant, and then you keep your fats about the same, and then you just basically
fluctuate the carbs. Yeah,
fluctuate your carbs to get your total calories. Got it. Cool. And then are you doing off-season cardio right now?
Yeah.
How many minutes?
I wasn't doing any earlier in the year, and then I kind of like paid for it. But now I'm doing like.
You're saying you just pay for it? You mean you just got a little too?
I got a little fluffy.
Okay.
I but now I'm doing. It's nothing crazy, but it's like Stairmaster, 20 minutes a day, like at the end of my sessions, like on a decent speed. So.
I'm looking at his face. I'm looking at David's face. So you're like, I'm not going to share any information. I'm not going to share any information.
Are you two kind of like still keep like, well, where are you guys at right now? Are you keeping him? Like, is he following an off-season diet? Is he kind of just living life at the moment?
No, he's definitely very structured. David's very structured. He knows that he can go off the rails for a short period of time with some meals, but he reels it back in pretty tightly.
I feel like this is the perfect time to share a story.
Great.
When we were on a trip, it was the
No.
It was the American Fitness Expo.
I don't think it's a story that we did share.
Which is actually this week, I think.
The American Fitness Expo in Houston. I can tell this now because you've grown from it since, and I gave you a firm talking to. This man ate so much crap on that trip. He was all off and this was how many weeks out? 10 weeks out. 10 weeks out. And then he gets back and you guys went and trained. And then he like, you asked to like ab check, you lifted a bit, and then you looked at him, he said, you look like you need a cheat meal, go have a burger tonight with fries and everything like that. And afterwards I looked at David and I was like, are you kidding me?
I gave you a little smirk.
Yeah, he was like,
David's got a very fast metabolism.
Yeah.
He's got so here's the exact polar opposites of one another. You guys work out, you guys train pretty consistently, I would say about 6 days a week?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're both doing off-season cardio, but again, the difference is
sometimes the cardio can waver a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, let's say 20 to 30 minutes, maybe 4 days a week, right?
4 days. No, maybe twice as of right now. I've been doing like twice.
No, for Matt.
Oh, for Matt. Okay.
3 or 4 days a week.
Right. And you're doing it a couple days a week, right? Your metabolism is much faster than Matt's in general, right? Matt had more fat cells when he was younger, and he's always going to have to fight it. So for those parents of you that would want those really thick folds in your kids and look like the little Michelin babies, you're not doing them any favors, especially as they get a little bit older. And
because the fat cells never go away.
They never go away.
That's one thing that's crazy to
so
like.
If you have, if your child has a tendency to get fat and you feed them because you think that you're making them happy or you're just making them pleasantly plump or whatever it is in your mind that is turning around because, little fat babies are so cute. Especially, I mean, their babies is a bit different, but when they get a little bit older than that, when you're like in that 8 to 12 year range, when they get chunky, you're going to end up increasing the likelihood of that child having weight issues for the rest of their life, right? And I had that same issue when I was growing up because that's why my mom got me a gym membership when I was 12 years old, because she's like, ooh, you're getting a little thick. You have a tendency to do that, so she got me a gym membership and she's like, I want you to go to swim. Little did she know I found my way in the weight room, but it was one of those things that I really, thank her all the time for going out of her way and buying me a membership. because most gyms, because this wasn't a commercial gym, it was a local gym, I was able to go in there and train and be able to not be harassed because of my age. Because now a lot of gyms, especially in California, they're like, oh, you got to be 15, you got to be 16, you got to be that. Some of them are a little more progressive and they'll say 13 or 14, but seldom do they let anybody younger than that. Here in Texas, they're a lot more open about being able to, younger kids be able to train. But ultimately, what Matt's going through is the difference between genetics, but also being a little bit heavier when you were younger. A combination. Are your parents a little heavier? Either of them? No, you just got a little bit chunky.
I just got unlucky. Yeah.
Oh, you got a little chunky. Did your parents feed you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So were they trying to give you that love where, like some parents do that. They go out of their way.
That's how it was in my family.
Really?
Yeah. My family, it's like all family gatherings centered around food. When there was, fluctuations in money in the household, good times meant good food around. And so
and lots of it.
Yeah. And like but
you come from a very big family.
Yeah. Yeah. But like positive thoughts were combined with food. And then it was like food was a comforter if you were ever sad. And so I developed a ton of super, super unhealthy relationships with food in high school. I had to lose like 80 pounds in high school. But I know that like during that of having those crazy weight fluctuations and everything like that, it is, I'm like a big fan of like no excuses. It's like, yes, I know I can gain fat faster.
Did you go to a big high school or small high school?
I was homeschooled.
Oh, homeschooled.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother still bullied me. Don't worry. I still got a lot of that. But
that was the whole entire time?
Yeah, pretty much. I went to a tiny private school for like the final 2 years of high school and everything. But I remember like I was like 11 and a kid sat down next to me and he just went, "Why are you fat?" And I was just kind of like, honestly, I don't know, but apparently I'm fat. And I had to and that's, I think, often what got me into, bodybuilding and everything. But I think a lot of people don't know that like if people who do go through a large weight loss, it is, mentally and physically, you're a bit more susceptible to gaining that back. And so that's why I would fluctuate back pretty quickly after shows, or even right now, if I take like a week off and relax, I notice it in that week. Like it's very fast.
Yeah. Well, you have those fat cells, you can shrink them, but you can't get rid of them. So again, going back to the whole Matt versus, David has much fewer fat cells. He's been lean his entire life. It's the epitome of what you want to be if you had to put everything in a textbook. But lots of us, whether it's genetic or whether it's because of the environment that was created for you, once you put that on, it's hard to take off and it's very easy to bring back on. So just remember that. And now, as you guys are talking about your off seasons and whatnot, what are your plans in regards to work? I know you're managing the gym, you're working managing the front desk. Now you're working over there too. This is like a community in Dallas where bodybuilding and fitness is very, very big here. And, we see a lot of influencers in a lot of gyms and they're going in there and they're shooting content. And one of the things that I was so surprised about when I moved here, because it was the polar opposite in the Silicon Valley, because of how expensive it is over there. Here, you can get, I would see 3 or 4 people that were all roommates and they move here from I remember one of the guys that had told me that they moved from Boston. And I'm like, well, we moved from Boston. And he's like, yeah, it was me and 3 other three other influencers and whatever else, so that they would have like maybe a clothing contract, or they would have a supplement contract, or they would have, they're doing some programs, whatever it is that they're doing. And with the girls, it's a lot of the OnlyFans pages.
Making bank though.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of different ways to make money here. But my question for you guys is, is it still prevalent where you guys are seeing people in the gym that have a lot, they're just basically that's all they're doing? Or is that now just more of a side hustle?
It's still very prevalent. Yeah. And we're actually still seeing people transition from, I've known a lot of guys who did have a 9-to-5 job working that, and now they're actually just transitioning into influencing into social media. So it's still progressing. We still see people, more and more people moving in that direction.
And are they still doing like the little group housing, and they're just jumping in with roommates and to try to get the cost down, and then they're just shooting content? And it's because I know, again, here it's much easier to do in Texas than it is in California.
Way more affordable here.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the most affordable states in regards to that regard.
Yeah.
And you have so many different people you can collab with.
Yeah.
But But so you're saying it's actually growing?
It's growing, and even more so in Houston with Alpha Land.
Okay.
I mean, like an entire cult over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of just because honestly, I would say that like obviously we have different generations when it comes to just, ages and whatnot. But I feel like within social media, there's like the generations are very small. It's like the generations are like every few years, there's a whole new wave and generation of people. And you have to like certain people have stayed relevant throughout it, or most kind of phase out at different age, like, at different times. For you guys, what do you think of the current generation of fitness within social media? Maybe not necessarily bodybuilding, because you guys are bodybuilders, but you're not necessarily like, I feel like you guys are a bit more in the younger influencers, people who are kind of competing, but also some people who are a little bit more lifestyle and whatever. Do you guys think it's a positive atmosphere right now? Be completely honest. Do you think it's negative at times? What do you guys think of like the fitness industry as a whole around within social media?
I think as it's become more saturated, I mean, you get a whole different, like, it's just a whole different environment than it was even like a few years ago. You get like, I think like, it's kind of more of this thing of like, where everyone's posting now, everyone's doing the same trends, doing like, all the videos are starting to look the same. Like, it's kind of like templates. Like the big thing is like CapCut templates, where you like just make a video of yourself and just like over and over and over, you'll see like the same video from like 10 different people. And like, well, like it's been nice because it's like a lot more people have the opportunity to like do this for a living if they're really passionate about it. You also get like this kind of loss of individuality.
To me, it's starting to get a little boring.
Yeah,
honestly.
where it's like all the guys,
a lot of individuals.
You have like a small group of guys that like blew up doing their own thing, like maybe a couple of years ago, and then you have like everyone who's kind of not necessarily late to the jump, but like now trying to do it, like trying to maybe play catch up or do what they're doing. But the approach nowadays is so much different. It's like, okay, I'm going to post my CapCut template for the day, like over and over and over, and hope that it blows up. And it's like, if you're scrolling through TikTok, you see the same video like 6 times in a row.
And usually one of them doesn't go viral unless there's like a spelling error or something crazy happens in the background. And that's what they're focusing on, because you can get like 1 million chest days. You can find a ton of chest days out there.
Yeah, well, you told me that we shot some stuff that went viral like this week, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like it's always like I can usually see it and I know what's going to go viral initially. Like we had that Optine video, first couple seconds, his legs are shaking and cut it to just that part. One of the videos I knew was going to go take off that actually took off on Evogen's page was I just posted, and it was during the Memorial Day sale, and so it's a little bit out of context, but I wanted to drive a bunch of additional traffic to that. And so it was just the end portion of you finishing off Derek as doing chest day.
That
sounds terrible. I realize that sounds terrible. Just scratch that.
Horrible.
We were finishing chest day. It was the very end of chest day. And you had Derek do just push-ups at the end of doing a bunch of cable flies. And it was the last portion of the chest day. So he was fried. And so he got down and all he could do was just 2 slow push-ups. And so
but nobody ever really knew that he just got done just
a whole
absolutely
blasted
destroying his chest.
So 1.3 million views in like a day, and everybody's like, "Oh, this guy can barely." But it just drove a ton of traffic to the sale page or anything like that. But a lot of the stuff that went viral on your page this week was just simply Derek training, and that's the thing is like he's talking about if you're somebody who is within the 160 to 220 pound range, meaning like you're a good lifter, maybe genetically, whatever it is. If you're just in that range though, and you're just posting educational content that's not anything special, you're not going to take off, unfortunately. It's going to take a lot.
Very oversaturated.
Yeah, it's just there's so many.
It was like you when you didn't have any people follow you. You had 300 followers.
Yeah, but also at the same time, you were, when you started...
It was 300.
300 followers, yeah.
He had what I was about to talk about, which is the freak factor once you were prepping and stuff. When people would stop on your videos, they'd be like, oh, shoot, this guy is like natural and looks wild. Your stuff that was recently that took off is Derek. It's freak factor.
Right.
People have to stop.
Well, it's an updated, the most updated videos of him that no one had seen.
But even that's not what's taking off on TikTok. A lot of people, like 98% of those views are coming from the For You page. A lot of them don't know who Derek is. It's just they're seeing one of the biggest.
No, what I'm saying is I'm just saying how impressive he looks, and
Exactly.
he's got a stringer on.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard. Like, do you guys have any thoughts on where you're going to go next social media wise? Like any concepts for yourself? You don't have to share any top secret stuff, but like to distinguish yourself?
Share the top secret.
Yeah. Right. I've been thinking about the recently.
Well, no, because look, right now, you've got, how many are you up to now?
I'm at 230 on Instagram and I'm at 365 on TikTok.
Okay. And when we started together, you didn't have a TikTok.
No TikTok, and I have 300 followers on Insta.
Right. And now you're well over 500,000 between the two platforms.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So what do you attribute it to?
So 2 things. One was the entire bodybuilding show that we did. It definitely it gave people a reason to follow because they wanted to follow this journey. And being in the mix with Evogen Nutrition, doing certain things that we did with Derek Lunsford, with Obteam.
The collab.
The collabs were huge. Now,
so remember that, guys. If you're listening to this and you want to build up your social media pages, again, collabs are golden. You have to do collabs because you're trying to get other people's audience to be able to like, subscribe, and follow you no matter what platform you're talking about, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, whether it's YouTube. It's about being able to get into somebody else's audience so that they go, oh, who's this person? They seem interesting. Let me follow them in their journey. Go ahead. Sorry. And
it was also about playing the game a little bit smarter. I noticed a lot of guys who would just post pictures or they would just post what they want to post. And what I found was it's these little 6-second clips that I would post over and over again. Just different videos.
Fixing your hair?
Fixing my hair, giving the look,
winking at
flexing,
the camera.
Winking at the camera. But I'm also
you use a lot of trending sounds too.
Yep, a lot of trending sounds. And it's you got to play the game. And so it was the second. I'm also on a cut, and it was kind of I was very fortunate because I got really conditioned really quick. So I was conditioned for a really good period of time. And so it's like it's instant. Okay, you see the screen. Wow, he's shredded. Okay, we watch this. And those were the videos that did blow my account up. I have probably, countless videos with 2 to 3 million views on them. So, and that was what really drove a lot of traffic because there are a lot of people that have a lot of this, even doing collabs though, and doing certain things like that. If you're not hitting the algorithm, playing the game right, you're not going to blow up.
Right. So it's about doing that. The other thing that people don't realize that you do have an advantage of being natural.
100%. It's very marketable.
Number one, it's marketable, but number 2, it's sustainable. When you're cycling, because you're on drugs and just PEDs in general, most people know enough to be able to understand that they have to cycle. So you're going to look good for the prep, and then you're not going to look good. And then those that are trying to stay looking good and lean all the time beat up their body. But if you're natural and you're able to keep that conditioning at 75, let's just call it 80%, and then peak at 100% for the show, then you're always in good or great shape. So you're more marketable and you can be able to create more attention on your channel for longer periods of time. But if you start to really blow up and you start to get sloppy, it becomes a thing. It happened even in Pittsburgh. I feel that Derek Lunsford last year, coming in shape, doing that guest posing, now everyone this year all came in shape because nobody wants to look like the odd man out. In the past, when Ronnie and Jay and everybody guest posed, Kai, everyone, they just let themselves go because social media wasn't a thing as much. So what would happen is that, people would end up looking a bit sloppy, but it was okay. And then they would get in shape for their show. But now, because everybody is under a microscope all the time, and I felt like Derek definitely set a precedence a little bit with that one because he looked so good in the off season. Again, why did he look good last year? Because he was trying to stay under the weight cap. That's why not because he was trying to get peak for an appearance at a booth that he ended up jumping up on stage. It was because he was still we were trying to keep him light. So it was just out of circumstances that's what occurred. But when you're natural and you're on TikTok or you're on Instagram and you can sustain abs and you can sustain a great level of conditioning, then you're going to end up being able to have content all the time.
Well, I think also, I thought you were kind of going to go a different direction to that because I'm thinking of the social media manager side of it. The main benefit to me of having the natural status on there is the arguments in the comment section. Because no matter what, if they're good comments or bad comments, it's comments and it drives more people to the algorithm, spreads it out there. And honestly, I'll say this, I purposely do post photos of you sometimes when you were super diced, and I will put on there natural because I just know.
It's the one of me curling those. It's gone viral like 3 or 4 times.
Every single time I post it, I'm sharing all the social media secrets here. But we'll cycle them through because every time you post something on TikTok, it's going to go out to a brand new audience. It's not necessarily for your followers. It's for the For You page. And if we put that video out there and I put 19-year-old natural athlete, anything like that.
Not natty.
Boom, it just blows it up. But the thing
he's not 19. He looks at least 20.
But if it reaches 100,000 people that are going to say that, it'll still reach 900,000 additional people who are going to now find Evogen, are going to kind of go to those pages. So it's like that is another cool thing is like, if you don't mind all of those comments and you kind of ignore them in a way or whatever and see them for the value
I don't like
that
them. I got into it with them the other day.
Yeah, we talked about it. Like, because I hate comments or negative comments or things like that.
It's just that when people, it's a bit different for me, right? I'm sorry. I do feel like I have to be on a little bit different level than you guys because I've endured a lot of bullshit for many, longer than you guys have been alive. Okay. So therefore for me, I feel that when somebody comes into my channel, there is a certain amount of respect that needs to be considered for that person. Austin has a different, he's going from a social media standpoint. He's thinking of it as
I'm thinking as like a PR manager.
Right.
Essentially.
Right.
On how much time a day we give those people.
Right.
Or the thought even that we give them.
And so he's looking at it as in absolutes. I'm looking at it as if you allow somebody inside your channel and says, hey, by the way, come in. It's just like your home. Have a seat. Come in. But there's some etiquette there. Right. So if some people come over there and be like, oh, I hate this guy. I remember it was a comment. Something about bro science. And I was talking about time under tension. And I was like, somebody's like, oh, I'm like, that's bro science. Time under tension is bro science. You don't even know what science is. But it's just funny because in the past, I would just go ahead and just be like, okay, let me just delete this guy. Let me just block this person because it's just noise. And and because it's such a younger platform with TikTok, you see that more often there than you would on IG.
Correct.
Right. So TikTok's like the wild, wild west. And Austin treats it such. I still treat it like it's still part of my personal brand. So if it's my page and somebody wants to come in there, you're kind of disrespecting me. No, you're not kind of, you are. And so if you want to come over there and talk shit, I should be able to take away your rights to be able to have access to me. And that's how I look at it. He looks at it like, let them all go out it.
I look at it as like, we get 75 million views in a month. Yeah, there's gonna be some idiot on there that's like, that's like somebody coming to the page like saying time under tension is pro science. It's like somebody saying, oh, like the sky's green. It's like, okay, like you're obviously an idiot. I
guess what Hany's referring to is we're asking for it if we're marketing it a certain way, like asking like, hey, oh, he's natural or whatever. We're like asking for these hate comments.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying is that like I'm a bit different that where you guys might allow, like, let me ask you this. How do you deal with it? I guess is my question. Do people go on your stuff and do you see it? Do you block them? Do you delete it? If somebody's sitting there and just be like, this guy's a pathological liar, he's crazy, or whatever it is, whatever that might trigger you. Do you go in there and delete, block? What do you do?
No, there was actually a really good comment for this example. Somebody goes in there and says, it was one of the reels that I did when I was on prep, and this guy was like, do not purchase any of the supplements, referring to Evogen that he puts on his promotes. You're not going to look like him, yada yada. He's not natural. And then I had like, it was actually kind of cool because I never respond to them, but I had like 6 or 7 of my buddies come in. They were like, bro, well, he just competed at the Dave Lieberman show. Yeah, he did all this, and I genuinely, it doesn't affect me. I'm very now. It's me. This is the difference between me and you, right? Yeah. Again, you have the reputation, all this, and for me though, it's just like I don't necessarily. It's a different world, and so I'm just like, oh, okay, well, it's not true. It's a false fact. Now, if they were saying I look kind of funny, that might hurt my feelings a little bit more.
He deletes all the ones about his hair. Anything about his hair.
And it doesn't. Nothing. No comments about my hair bother me.
Yeah, he actually has the auto filter on, so anytime the word hair comes up, it just automatically deletes.
Yeah, then we're having a different discussion. But when it comes to natural or not, I'm like, well, I know the truth, right? And it's just, and I'm confident enough in myself and who I am and what I'm doing. It genuinely doesn't affect me. It really is.
No, I definitely take certain things much more personal than others. And because I don't come from this era, right? This is something that I've leaned into as we built a business, and it's definitely a piece of it. If you're not doing some kind of social media, you're really doing yourself a disservice. And I feel that, but there is and should be a level of respect given. But depending on the platform, again, TikTok is a very younger platform. It's a much younger platform, I should say. And the ability for people to go in there and talk shit, it reminds me just of the 20-year ago message boards that people used to go in there and just go under anonymous and just talk crap. And people would just, it was like a field day. People would just talk crap whatever it is. And when I remember in the very beginning when I created FSD7, people are like, oh, this is bullshit. It's just a synthol program or it's just this program. I mean, it's still out there on the internet. And it's just funny because somebody went out of their way to make this big old post one day on one of the message boards, and it sounded somewhat like a legitimate source to whoever it was that read it, because somebody put time into it saying, I really feel like this is what's going on and this is what this is all about. And I just laughed my ass off. But there's legitimately people who believed that. They didn't realize that I took principles that I felt worked the best for my athletes, combined them and created higher intensity with me not being there. So therefore I can give them structure on how to increase intensity with remote training, because as remote training started becoming more popular, it became very, very apparent to me that people didn't know how to increase intensity. And that, especially when they're training alone, and being able to build that into a program and being able to take all of those different types of philosophies, high intensity combined with volume, and adding in my nuances that I felt like were really, really important, is what created FSD7. But there were times where people would be like, oh, no, it has nothing to do with training. It's all with site injections. And I just laughed. And I'm like, it has nothing to do with site injections. It has everything to do with training, because as everybody knows by now, after 30 years of me doing this, I believe in training above and beyond everything. Okay. PEDs, supplements, diet, everything, training. You can eat Burger King and still get big and strong. It's not the healthiest way to do it. But back in the day when you had 99-cent, tacos at Taco Bell, and you could eat $2 Whoppers or, 2 for $2 or whatever it was back in the day, you could still be big. And then if you cleaned up the diet, then that's the healthier way to do it. And that's how you lean out. And we used to joke that's the difference between powerlifting and bodybuilding, right?
Yep, keeping a clean diet.
And staying out of the drive-thru.
And if you'd like to accomplish that, click the link below for the FSD7 app.
That's right. Shameless plug. FSD7 app. Which definitely we're going to have to sit down, because there's some new modules that I want to work on. We got to get together with the guys and do some stuff, because I think you guys would have a blast doing it, and plus you get a lot out of it. But the thing that makes me more excited than anything is the fact that I feel like that there's a resurgence of people understanding that bodybuilding doesn't have to all be about PEDs. Bodybuilding doesn't have to be all about being natural. There is different universes and metaverses within our bodybuilding culture and community, and there's an overlap in that. Stay clean as long as you can. If it's something that you're interested in and you want to go down that road, make sure you get with a doctor, get blood work done. Again, if you guys ever want to go down that road, by all means, just get blood work done. Obviously, I'm a resource. I'll give you my 2 cents on it. But the biggest thing is just making sure you don't get pressured into it because somebody at your gym or your school or whatnot. So if you're listening to this, guys, really try to maximize your genetics first, because you'll get so much more. If you do decide later to make the jump, you'll get much more out of it, because you're not souping up a Honda Civic, you're souping up a Corvette, and you're going to take you a lot farther. So again, the younger you are, the more it beats up your body and the more limitations you actually have. So that's my public service announcement. But let's talk about this. Before we wrap up, what we're going to do is we're going to restate the fact that we're going to do this, because I think this is actually a cool idea. Okay. Let's go ahead and we're going to get some updated pictures from both of you. We're going to talk about goals, and we're going to go ahead and we'll do another check-in here. Okay. And what we're going to do is maybe we'll do it in 3 or 4 weeks.
I'd jump in with you guys, but I'm going to hold off. Okay. I'm going to let you guys just do this. All right.
You wouldn't want to show us up, right?
I'm going to hold off on the check-ins. Okay. Because I'm 260 right now. 8% body fat. You can't tell with the camera.
260.
Yeah. Just the angle.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Just the angle.
No. He's got a dumbbell underneath his knees.
Yeah, I was just like, for this moment, I was pumping up under the table. But yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. So how often do you want to do it?
I think what we'll do is we'll do it 4 weeks. Okay. We're going to do a 4-week blitz, chase 2. And I don't think it has to be about leanness. It's just about, right now we're in off-season mode, both of you. So we're going to see your body parts, see your lagging body parts, where you're able to actually accentuate those lagging body parts, where you get them to grow, break plateaus. And we'll go in and maybe we'll ask the audience to add in the vote too. So what we'll do is maybe 50% of the vote will be yes, and 50% of it will be the audience, and say, okay, well, who made the biggest improvements in 4 weeks?
We need to do like the Madden breakdown with like drawing on the iPad and actually like circling and that stuff and everything. We need to do a full breakdown.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Me and Matt are both going to come in super tan. And
Why are you guys so shiny? It's like they oiled up out
in 4 weeks. They're going to be closing down in the studio.
Yeah. Because we did that on one of your check-ins before your show. You actually did a live check-in on the podcast. So we'll have to do that.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
All right.
And then we'll also add in a component of lifts, because I want this to also be a little bit performance-based, not just visual, because we're such a bodybuilding community, right? Like most of my followers are so big into bodybuilding, but you have that smaller subculture that do follow me that are very big into like the lifts. When they see Hany lifting and doing walking lunges with 2 or 3 plates, and they're turning around and being able to watch Derek or C-Bum, and they're asking about like, hey, how heavy do they go? I want you guys to also try to get into some numbers, but they're going to have to be clean reps.
Okay.
So we have to see what kind of improvement we can make on. We'll pick 3 or 4 different exercises.
Okay.
And we'll see we'll see how many reps you can do. Whether it's a squat, whether it's a dead, or maybe it's some. I think we're going to sit down. It's going to take some time. It's not going to be on this particular podcast, but I'll decide here in the next couple of days, and we're going to
calf raises,
no, not calf raises, forearm curls. Yeah, no, we're gonna come up with some like 3 or 4 different lifts, and we'll all agree to it, and then we'll create a little performance aspect to it.
Okay.
Yeah, and it won't be just one body part. So that way, if you have a stronger body part, Matt, you're gonna say, okay, well, I got him on this, and then David might have you on the other body parts. But I think this would be cool because it'll also help you guys be able to generate even more competition amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
And then we do a cheat, Dave. Who can hit the highest calorie number?
I got that in the bag.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, see, honestly, I think that could be interesting. A calorie tally next to each other, and then so like someone's
going to end up in the hospital. That's what's going to happen.
No, sign a waiver beforehand. Yes. That would be a pretty epic video, I feel like. Because again, we're so close in weights.
David could eat, dude.
I know, but I was a fat kid, and if he was a fat kid, we can eat too.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, right now,
feedback on.
What was the just? I got to hear this. Biggest cheat meal you've ever had, David?
Okay, so it was exactly 7 days after my show. I counted my calories. It was the whole day though. Over the course of the entire day, it was about 13,000.
13,000 calories.
I'm not exaggerating.
Tell me what you had.
Okay, so. Woke up in the morning. I started the day off healthy, and so I tracked. And my entire goal was, hey, I'm just gonna
get a protein shake.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat clean foods. Okay. So whatever I tracked, it was up to 6,000 calories of just chicken, rice. It was all the health, bagels, yada yada. And so then I get a call from my friends, and they were like, hey, like we want to go celebrate your show, yada yada. Let's go out. I said, great. So I'm at 6K for just clean carbs, clean food, whatever it may be. And then we go to Pizza Hut. So I get myself a entire pizza. It was a large pizza. Looked online. It was 2,000 calories with jalapenos, pineapple.
Pineapple jalapeno.
Oh, yeah.
Weird.
It was good.
Sweet.
That's weird.
Okay.
And fiery.
Yeah, and fiery.
Did you have that? You know what? I'm a pineapple.
I am too.
Pepperoni pineapple.
I am too, but not with jalapenos. Interesting.
I like jalapenos, but jalapenos don't like me. But go ahead.
So that put me
8,000.
8,000. Then I'm not stopping at the pizza though. You don't go to Pizza Hut and you don't just order a pizza.
That's right.
You get the breadsticks with it, right?
You get the breadsticks.
So
amateur move. Breadsticks is just bread.
But then you dip it in the cheese sauce and
we used to do that when I was in high school.
Interesting. Oh yeah. With the little cup of marinara sauce.
That's right.
With that little sleeve. Yeah. Okay, those are pretty good. Okay, we'll get it past.
Yeah, those were good. And so down those, and then what about dessert? Cinnabons, right? And so those were great. So down the Cinnabons. All right, now I'm kind of full, right? But now we're somewhere around 10K, I think it's fair to say. And then what? You think that's fair?
Yeah, I mean,
cap it there.
Yeah.
I don't even think the Evo log would have worked at this point.
No,
it's just like
we're
overdrive.
Yeah. And so then we go to my friend's house, drive home. And it was seriously, I was having, so here's the deal. I was eating terrible the entire week, 7 days after my show. And I told myself this was the last night that I'm going to eat unhealthy. And so it was a whole mental thing going on.
It was the Last Supper.
Yeah. And so then we get home and my friend's parents weren't there. And then they made brownies for all of us. And so like these homemade brownies. So I had like half it was like an entire thing. I down half of it. And then that put me around like 11-ish. And then we went to 7-Eleven a little bit later on.
Interesting.
And now it's maybe like 3 a.m. And then we went to, I got a little...
Was your heart like coming out of your chest?
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was, and so I got a little thing of Ben & Jerry's strawberry cheesecake.
Those are like 1,300, right?
Yeah, something like that. And then I got 2 strawberry cheesecake bites too. They were like these little things. And then got home, had all that. So that's why I estimated somewhere around 12 to 13. And then it was, like I was sitting, I couldn't lay down on my stomach. I was laying down on the floor, and it was so bad that I had to get up and I had to walk around like the neighborhood. And I had just
You're like second trimester at that point.
Yeah, and it was I couldn't sleep. It was painful.
You think you can top that? No.
No, I mean,
so he just
no. I could think I could keep up. I think I could maybe eat more than you, but I've never had like a specific day like in memory where I just went like all out. I mean, after my show, like, but I kept it within like my maintenance calories. Like I didn't like, I tried to be very like
never did that.
Good on my food. And then I don't know, but I could eat a lot. My post-show treat was like a burger, fries, like shake. And then like I ordered 10 of these like pound cookies.
Oh,
like,
those giant ones.
Yeah. Like they're probably like,
yeah,
like this big,
yeah.
like 10 of them.
Yeah.
And like would just like pick them off like
my cookie dealer kind of cookies.
Yeah,
like those big
yeah,
ones.
yeah, the big ones.
Yeah.
But
I mean, be
Unreal.
interesting to see.
And I thought I was bad. My last show, I did have pizza, but what I did was there was a round table, and we were in LA.
I haven't been to round table in forever.
And I find out the round table closed, and it said closed on Google. And I'm like, closed like tonight? And they're like, no, it's out of business. And my go-to was always round table. So for those of you who know round table, you know that you grow up with that kind of pizza. It's a real good high quality pizza. It's much better quality than like a Pizza Hut. Or
is it only in California? I grew up with it.
I think honestly, I heard Nick told me that there's one here in Dallas, and there's one maybe in Frisco, but there's very few of them out here. But round table was kind of like the go-to. So I really like, I couldn't do Domino's. I couldn't do this or that. I needed this round table. And come to find out, the guy just took the name and swapped it for the franchise, and he changed it, but he still used the same ingredients. So he goes, no, I used to be Round Table, but I'm this, whatever he called it. And he says, but it's going to taste like Round Table. And I'm like, dude, it better taste like Round Table. So I go there. I have my best friend. I have my family there. My mom and dad were there. And I ordered 5 extra large pizzas. And these pizzas were gigantic. Right?
Okay.
I ordered 5 of them. And there was like, I don't know, like 8 of us there. And they were closing, but they're like, hey, look, we're going to keep it open for you. I was like, thank you so much. And I still have my Pro-Tan on. I just got done with the show. I come over and I asked the guy, can I get a tin, an extra large tin? And he's like, yeah, sure. Comes over and gives me a tin. And I said, okay. I walked over, reached over to every single one of the pizzas because I got a pepperoni pineapple. I got an all meat, like a
meat lovers.
Yeah, it's kind of like a meat lovers, like a combination. The combo was the way to go. And I got to have my pizzas always well done. They got to be crunchy. I can't have floppy pizza. It's just the thing about me. And then I had a barbecue chicken pizza. Then I had a veggie because my parents liked veggie pizza, and it was a veggie. So between all the 5 pizzas, there was stuff that I would eat. But I had this empty tin, and I went and took literally a quarter of each of the, several slices from each one, and made my own extra large
pizza, yeah.
And then I got a big, like a bowl of ranch, and I was like a dog with a bone that hadn't eaten in days, and I'm just like, stay away from me. I'm just like dipping it in there and just like, and I'm like, oh, this is so good. So I had an extra large piece, but God knows what the calories were on it. And then like a couple hours later, I was hungry again, and I'm like, going through the Taco Bell, or it was like some kind of taco place, drive through across from the hotel in LA. And I was like, all right, I'm done. And then I gained 15 pounds. I'm like,
you usually don't recommend pizza. Pizza's like the cheat meal you say no to. That's a long time ago.
Well, yes, there's multiple reasons, but I'll mention them again. Yeah. Again, I was 148 pounds.
Yeah.
Right. So I went up to 165 pounds. I gained 15 to 18 pounds in less than 24 hours. But you have people that gain 20, 30, pounds.
I gained 22.
Well, and then you add in PEDs that make your body, or diuretics that can make your body rebound really, really massively. And what happens is your blood pressure just absolutely just gets pummeled. So even for me, being lifetime drug-free, natural bodybuilder wasn't the healthiest choice. I mean, again, feels like your body's just, your heart's just pounding because it's got to digest all this food, and your body just, your core temperature's through the roof because now you're going with all these extra calories, so you're just sweating.
Yeah.
And
the meat sweat.
Yeah, the meat sweat.
The meat sweats will get you, man.
And so you're going off of that end. And I didn't gain, believe it or not, that much. I didn't lose that much conditioning. I mean, I got a little watery, but it was, I'm like, whoa, full. And I'm like, oh, it's like, oh, I look good.
Should have looked like this.
Should have come like this on the show, right? That's what everybody says, right? That's why everyone goes, oh, if I had a burger, I'd look really, really good. C-Bum's still trying to get me to give him a burger, like do the whole prep with burger, he said. He said, if you're really good, just carb me up with all burgers. Yeah, he's like, that's how I'll know you're really good. That's what he said to me the other day.
It's a good challenge.
Yeah, he said that to me in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen.
Yeah. But one thing that I definitely always tell people, do not, when you go out and have sushi, you have all these things and your ankle starts to swell up and everything else. That's just destroying your system. It's destroying your kidneys. Your blood pressure is going through the roof, and those microtubules are just exploding inside of you because it's going to cause long-term damage. And if you are going to have a cheat meal, I normally recommend not going crazy like that, making sure like a burger's fine, just making sure. And again, if you have a predisposition for high blood pressure or any of these things, those are things that you really got to be careful of because you're going to have it because you're just restricting water or you're taking diuretics, and then you're turning around and then you're just going crazy with drinking tons of water with sodium. So your body's just going to attract all of that, and then your weight jumps up and your blood pressure jumps up, and then that's what really causes an unhealthy environment in your body. So, when you are doing that and you guys are natural, you're less likely to after the show, but you still got to be careful too.
It tastes good though.
Oh,
I'm just gonna say
absolutely. That. And the worst thing is actually drinking alcohol because that also creates more diuresis. So you're basically, that diuretic effect is continued. So if you've cut your water back or you're taking diuretics because of the fact that you're, let's say you're not clean and you're just doing a regular show of some sort, and then you're taking something, then your body's going to rebound even more. So drinking alcohol can end up getting you in the hospital. So that's why you don't do it the night of the show. Or if you do and you know what you're doing, normally you're really making sure that you're hydrating properly. So again,
you guys are 19 and 20, so you've obviously never had a sip of alcohol in your life.
Never.
Okay,
Never illegal.
Okay.
Yeah, don't do it legally.
Y'all answered that question way too fast. No, never.
So again, guys, I really appreciate the time. I love the fact that you guys are working out together. I really like the fact that you guys are going to create this
challenge.
It's going to be fun.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So again, you guys have any questions?
No questions. That was awesome.
Yeah. How was your first podcast, Matt?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's great being here, for you guys being here. And we really enjoyed it. So for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, comment below. It helps the algorithm. So, and make sure you do not forget to share. And for those of you that are listening to this on your commute and you're on Spotify or you're downloading it on one of the platforms, make sure if you're wanting to go in there on the YouTube page and being able to comment, it really helps out the algorithm as well. So again, Hany Rambod, I'm here with Austin and the boys, and that's the truth.